Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in this week's episode, we're going to be diving in to what can you get for $20 in Las Vegas. So there is a bit of a caveat to this particular title for this podcast. You do have to spend something before you can use this $20 trick in Las Vegas. And I'm not just talking about what you can get at the front desk, but on all the different interactions you might have here in town. So there is a little bit of, you got to do something before you can use this. But I do, there's lots of like old school Vegas tips and hacks that can work. And I think this is actually one of them. And I just want to do a quick shout out to where I came up with this idea was I had a friend, Andrew and Victoria, who just got married. Congratulations. Wanted to spend a night on the Strip. And they asked me some like tips of like how they can make the most out of this whole situation. So I went ahead and gave him some ideas. So we're going to be diving into that on what you can get for $20 here in Las Vegas.
This is the concierge, sir.
Okay, guys, so we are back. So let's go ahead and dive into the podcast. So the question was what can you get for $20 in Las Vegas? And the fun thing is that you still can get quite a few things. So some of the old school things that you really can't get for free anymore, in quotations, obviously, is one of my favorite things to do was to actually go to the valet when they had, like, you didn't want it, back in the day. Let me just sort of rewind for those of you that don't know old school Vegas. When valet was free, that was awesome. It was one of those like little things that, being somebody who didn't have lots of money, but you were still able to sort of get that Vegas experience by being able to park valet. It was awesome. So you would drive up to the valet on like a Saturday. This has to be like a busy day. And because on a regular day, all you had to do is tip a $5, beginning and end, you're good to go. Fantastic. But let's just say you pulled into the valet, full. It's a packed Saturday night. Really can't find any parking. No one wants to park, self-park, God forbid. So you pull up to the valet, and then they say, are you staying at the hotel? If you're not, you would say no. And then from there, they would say, well, it's hotel guests only tonight. And with that, you would then end up saying, you have the $20. You have it ready. You got to have this stuff ready. You got to have the $20 bill ready. You can't be like rifling in your wallet. It's kind of weird. Although they'll still take it. I mean, money's money. But you want to look cool doing it. That's the point. Being cool in Vegas is the whole deal. Half the business is actually getting what you need. The other half is looking cool doing it. So you have your $20 out and you say, hey, so what's going to happen is they're going to say hotel guests only. And they're going to say, can you just find a spot for it? And that's where you have the $20, show it to them. They're going to look at you and they're say, yeah, what's the last name? Boom. You give it to them. They're going to park your car. You're good to go. Sometimes, and they might even put it in the front for you. So you'll have a nice, beautiful Lamborghini, Ferrari sitting right next to your, GMC Canyon, just in case you guys are wondering. So that's just a mid-sized truck. And you might be wondering how that mid-sized truck got there. It is by tipping. So that is the important thing of old Las Vegas. This is something that still can work today, but in much different circumstances. And yes, it's going to cost you a good amount of money because you have to actually pay for valet at the same time. So yes, it is a very expensive proposition. So let's start here. So let's just say you pull up and you're coming to a hotel for a dinner reservation, a show, something. And it's a busy night. It's a Saturday. You're at the Wynn. There's the Sphere going on. How are you able to park your car? They're not letting anybody in the valet. It's really stupid. Not anybody in the parking garage. It's really stupid. So you go to the valet. You pull up to the valet. They're going to say, oh, hotel guests only. And then you pull it out, do the whole thing. You say, is there some place you can find? Can you find a spot for it? They will 90% of the time say, all right, come on in, we'll park your car. And again, you're still going to have to pay for the valet parking part of it, but this is the convenience of parking valet, is that you have direct access into the hotel, and then you go on with the rest of your day. So I know it sounds like it's expensive because, again, it's going to cost you, let's just say, $25, $30 to valet it, maybe 40, and then plus another 20. You're really paying for the convenience. So yes, it is not like super free, but it is a very convenient way for you to get your car parked for sure. Man, the good old days were good. They were so fun. So let's get to the things where you can use $20 to your advantage. So for my friend, for example, he was staying on the Strip somewhere, one of the higher end hotels. It is their, valet. It is their honeymoon after all. Well, somewhat their honeymoon. They're going somewhere else, but they wanted to spend, a night on the Strip, sort of do it big, for the night. So I ended up giving him the recommendation of how do you get like a better room or an upgrade without spending, an exorbitant amount of money. So he ended up booking a room, which was actually quite a nice room to begin with. So sometimes you kind of don't need to. But let's just say you book like a standard room and it's only for one night. This is the fun thing about Vegas and one night reservations. Again, this is very much for locals or people who are staying, one night at one property and then moving over. Is if you say, yeah, it's just for one night, and this is a good way of actually getting some free stuff without tipping, is mention it as an occasion. So the occasions that rank the most important occasions to us as hospitality workers, we want to wow you. Number one, newlyweds. Newlyweds are on top of the list of where we're trying to really go above and beyond and show you how awesome our hotel can be for your occasion. You only get married once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. We don't care. As long as you say you're a newlywed. We usually can tell, by the way, and also we won't question, like no one's going to question like, oh, are you guys really newlyweds? It's actually really great because you can't check like an ID if you guys are married. You just, boom, we're newlyweds, and kind of leave it there. But if you want to go the extra mile, you say, yeah, we're newlyweds, and, we're staying in your hotel for one night, and we're really excited, and, we booked this room. And then they're going to say, oh, that's amazing. I'm really excited for you guys. And you can say, oh, yeah, if there's anything you can do, we'd really appreciate it, like a nice view of the Strip or something like that. We'd really appreciate it. And then boom, that's when you slip them the 20. Just fold it up real nice. Doesn't have to be like super inconspicuous. You don't have to put it in between your credit card. That's an old school thing. You just say, do whatever you can do for us. We'd really appreciate it. Just ask for it. Ask for, is there, if there's anything with a view or anything, on a higher floor, we'd really appreciate anything you can do. Most hotel workers are really cool with that because you didn't ask anything for free. We know exactly what you're looking for. And if we're not able to do it, there's other things that we can accommodate to make it a more memorable experience for you. But you do have to tell us that it's newlyweds. We can't figure that out on our own unless it's on the reservation. So basically, what happens is we will usually give you a nicer room or upgrade to like a suite, especially if it's a one-night thing. Especially if you're staying for one night on an off night, like a Sunday, that's a really good time to get an upgrade. So getting upgrades are usually reserved for Sunday through Thursday. Usually Sunday through Wednesday is the best because Friday and Saturday are turnover days, and those are really hard days to actually sort of get going. So that's important to remember as well. But with that, you typically will get a nice little upgrade to a higher floor, usually get a view. That's really nice. And they did. They ended up getting a really nice view on the north end of the Strip looking south. So that means they got a really, really like A+ view of the Strip, which is great. I was really happy that they got one. And that happens. It happened to me one time when I was staying at the Palazzo for a bachelor party. And we're like, hey, can we get like, a good view or, just see what you can do. Give him 20. And we did. We did actually end up getting a really nice view of the Strip. The guys did not like that it was away from the elevators, which is something else that you can ask for. But it happened. So that's what the front desk can do. Let's just say that they aren't able to get you an upgraded room or something with a view or something of that nature. A lot of times, if they're not able to do that, let's just say it's a very, very busy weekend, they'll be able to do other things. For example, send things to the room in the manner of being a box of chocolates. They'll usually send like a bottle of champagne or a bottle of wine, something that says, it's a special occasion. I love sending bottles of wine. Bottles of champagne. It's honestly one of the easiest ways for us to get recognition for what we did. And most people really enjoy it. Although, funny story, I did send something to somebody's room one time and then came back down and did not want it. They said, can we actually give this back to you and then get like a more expensive wine, which was absolutely hilarious. I was like, no, this isn't like a dollar amount to this. This is comped, because they said, well, how much does this usually cost? And I was like, well, usually it's around, $60 for this bottle of wine. and they say, oh, well, we want the wine that's $75. So can I just pay you the $15 and then give this back to you? It's like, no, that's not how this works. I'm trying to give you something for free, dude. And it was one of the funnier, like, exchanges. Like, I can't, like, give you something else instead. There's lots of, like, tiers to, like, I have to talk to room service, and it's a whole deal. And, like, this is a free thing. So I think those are kind of funny. That's only happened once, by the way. Most people just take the free thing and run with it. Also, it's important to note, if you do not drink, I would make sure to say that, we're not drinkers at some point in that particular exchange, because most of the time we will send a bottle of champagne. And if you don't drink, tell them after, and then maybe they'll send something back up to the room and exchange it and do something nice for you. So we'll see what it goes. But usually, like I've gotten like a box of chocolates, was really nice. And when I asked for something and they weren't able to accommodate, they sent a nice little box of chocolates, which is fine. Have I gotten anything else that's weird? I've done like a order of chocolate covered strawberries, which was nice. I do that all the time. If it's a really big one, like let's just say it's an 80th anniversary, which brings me to my next one. Our second favorite thing to give free stuff for is anniversaries and anniversaries. So anniversaries are like the next level down from newlywed stuff. It's essentially the same thing, really, if you think about it. But I had a oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the word. I had an anniversary that was, I think, 60 or 65 years. So it was a very, very long relationship that I was able to get authorization to send chocolate-covered strawberries and a bottle of champagne to the room. So just so you guys know what it used to be like back in the day before COVID, so may have changed since then, but we were able to comp up to $50 per guest for free stuff. And that was actually like not a company-wide thing, but that was a department-wide thing for the concierge. Reason being is that if we do that, that was the amount of money that they put to that guest for giving a good review online or giving a good guest review or comment, on their own GSS. So that was sort of the dollar figure, was like $50 is what we're willing to give out in free things per guest. So just so everybody knows, if you're not having a great stay, let them know that, and they'll probably give you like $50 in food and beverage credit, $25 in, resort credit. Always want the resort credit. That's the one, because it charges back to your room. But they usually encapsulated like one bottle of champagne or an order of chocolate-covered strawberries. So either way, sometimes we're able to comp a little bit more for really, really special occasions. So like I said, guys, just be cool and get free stuff. So then brings me to my next point, because I actually said that to my friends, and they said, oh, we're getting the Concierge Confidential treatment. And I said, he's like, I got to listen to a couple episodes. And I said, no, you're getting the one-on-one version of this, because then I told him all this, like newlyweds are our favorite guests to try to wow. Those are our, absolute favorite. And then Victoria, it's her birthday, said, oh, will the restaurant do anything for my 30th birthday? And I said, maybe, but that would be number 3 on our level of things to come to Las Vegas, is your birthday. Birthdays are honestly one of the, I'm not going to say lame. That's not nice to say. I would say they're lower on the tier of things that we want to wow guests for, because a lot of people come to Las Vegas for their birthday. It's something that comes every year. If you don't get something this time of year, you'll get it next time of year if you come to Las Vegas. We don't always look at it that way, but anniversaries and newlywed stuff, that's sort of like big milestones that we really, really like to wow people on. We also have like really weird ones. Like we'll have like divorce parties. That's always kind of fun. I never sent anything for a divorce party, but that would have been a really fun sort of thing to do. Bachelorette parties, bachelor parties. Those are ones that we like to sort of dole out some fun stuff for, just because it's like a party atmosphere and we want to make, be the good start to your event. That's actually a really good thing to remember, is that if you do something for, let's just say, the front desk, you can also go to the concierge desk, if your hotel has a concierge, and do the exact same thing. We do make notes, so just know that we do make notes that we're not going to send like 2 bottles of champagne from 2 different places. But if you do something with the concierge, like let's just say make a dinner reservation or make a tour reservation or shows, just mention that. And then again, we'll be able to do the whole process over again. And again, if you tip us another $20, we'll figure out something to do for you. That's also really good after you like buy a show ticket and give us $20. We'll figure something out. And the reason $20 is sort of like the number is that it's a very comfortable number. It's not too much. It's not too little in terms of asking for us to do something. $5 is cool. $10 is cool. And honestly, we're cool with any type of gratuity. That's actually really, really nice in general. But once we get to like the $100 tip, then it's like, okay, now what do you really want from me? I've only really gotten two $100 tips before. One of them required a little effort. The other one, absolutely zero effort. The zero effort was nice because all I did was book a limo ride and book a dinner reservation for not a hard restaurant, and we're able to do it. So I was actually, happy with that one. But the other one, which required a little extra sort of theater, was I had a guy who came to me, and it was like a Thursday. It had to be a Thursday or a Friday. And it was not Labor Day weekend, it's the other one, Memorial Day weekend, so the start of the summer, which is a really big holiday for Vegas because that's when a lot of pools are open. That's when they have all their like pool parties that start. And he wanted a cabana at our regular pool at MGM, which is a very, very popular pool. And I was like, I don't know. And first of all, I really hated booking cabanas. Cabanas were like my least favorite thing to book. It was in like one of the system. It had lots of steps. I was very nervous to book cabanas. So anyways, then I opened up the system, made sure I got the password right. Thank God. And before I actually got to that point, he just said, my kids and my wife are coming into Vegas. I'm here for business, and I want to book them a cabana by the lazy river. And I said, all right, let me see what I can do. And then he's like, yeah, let's see what you can do. And then he gave me the 100. And this is the thing that will happen. Until we actually book the thing, we do not put the $100 in our pocket. We'll leave it out. So we'll just leave it out. You can see it just so we know we're clear on where to go. And I open it up. And then I'm looking through the reservation system, which we can't move stuff. It's whatever's in the inventory is the inventory. So as I'm looking, we have plenty of availability. We have like 4 possible cabanas by the lazy river. We have another 4 for like the back part of lazy river. We have another 4 like in a different part of the pool. So we have like enough cabanas. So I had to say, I really played it up. I said, oh, well, looks like I'm able to move some stuff around here. Let me see what I can do. And I was just clicking buttons. And then once I got it all set up and I said, oh, we have this one available for $1,800. And it was $1,800 food and beverage credit, which is actually a really nice thing to do, which not a lot of places do anymore. Some places make you do half and half. So food and beverage credit means if we're charging you $1,800, you are charged $1,800 up front, just to be clear. And then you get $1,800 worth of food and beverage for your entire time at the cabana. That could be all day. So you actually do get a really good bang for your buck if you're going to be there. I mean, $1,800 is actually kind of a lot for, a smaller cabana. But if it's a holiday weekend and you have a lot of people, you can hold up to 6 people in a cabana. It's not bad if you split it up. So most of the cabanas ran between like $800 and $1,200 most of the time. $1,800 was like if it was a really busy weekend. So he's like, sure, cool. Bought the cabana. We were good to go. I earned my $100 by booking him a cabana on a very, very busy weekend. I take it. So, yeah. So back to my $20 thing, because that was not a $20, situation. The next place, because we're talking about her and the restaurant, is what can you get for $20 at a restaurant? So there's layers to this one. So let's just say you're trying to book a reservation. If you're going to be doing this, you should hopefully be doing it in person because you can't give $20 to somebody over the phone. So let's just say you're trying to book a reservation at a really hard restaurant, which just doesn't always happen. I've seen people denied. I've seen somebody denied $200 tip at a very affluent restaurant very recently. So this is what you do. Let's just say you're trying to book a reservation at, let's just say, STK. This is a really good example because it happened. So I was trying to book a reservation for 2 people that I tried booking online, and the moment that I was going to book it, wasn't able to book it. It was gone once I got to the next page. So I went the day before, the day of, probably the day before, and I said, hey, I was trying to make this reservation at this time. and it went away. I wasn't able to book this reservation for 2 people. The key to this is you want to go to the hotel. And again, this is if you're there early. You want to go to the restaurant. The restaurants usually open at 5 or 5:30. So you usually want to get there about 3:30, 4 o'clock. 3:30 is probably best because that is when the hostesses have to get to the stand at most of these restaurants at 3 or 3:30. And that's if they don't have a lunch, service. So that's a good time to go because it's not as busy. No one's going to rush you. They're not trying to seat people. They have one thing and one thing only, and that is follow-up calls for people who have reservations for that night. So that's a good time to go and ask, because once you get to the hostess stand, that is probably the person with the absolute most power in a very, very specific position. They're not going to be able to book for other properties. You have to do this in person at the restaurant you're trying to go to. And again, depending on how much you want to go to this restaurant, you might have to go halfway down the strip to talk to this person in person. But that's me. I am actually a really big face-to-face person because I find that it's much harder to say no to people when they're right in front of you. It's much easier on the phone to say we're fully committed, can't do it, yada, yada, yada. We got the whole thing. So I went up. I was like, hey, are you able to, make a reservation for this time? And she was able to, which was nice. She said, we can put you in at this time. And then boom, Bob's your uncle. We're good to go. I don't think I tipped her that time, but if she was able to do that, I probably would have gave her a 10, maybe a 20. Then this comes into fact. But then if we weren't able to make a reservation, what I would do in this situation, I would say, well, can you put my name down? Can you put my name down on a waiting list? Can you put my name down just to see if anybody cancels? Slip her the 20. Maybe something happens. You have to be ready to say goodbye to that $20. This is part of that. You have to be ready for it. I've never been to the point where I really needed a reservation like that because if it was something that I really wanted, I made the reservation a long time ago. But if I really need to, I give them a 20 and say, hopefully it's there. But there was a recent time where I was going on a date and I was actually we were meeting at the hotel, which is very common. Very common in Las Vegas to meet at a restaurant or a hotel. I'm assuming same thing in other big cities when you're dating, random people. And this was like a second or third date. And I was going to Mother Wolf and I got to Mother Wolf first. And it was getting to the time where it was actually going to be late. So I ended up going to the restaurant face to face. And I said, hey, my date is running a little bit late. Are you able to push this, 15 minutes, which they always do. Most restaurants have a 10 or 15-minute grace period. It's usually nice to call, but they usually will hold your reservation 15 minutes past the time of the reservation. So I end up going up to the hostess, and I, explained the situation. They said, yeah, just let us know when they're here, and we'll get you guys all set up. I said, thank you, and I just gave them $20. I said, thank you so much for your help. Gave them the 20. She took it. We're good to go. We come back in. They see you. The hostesses will remember this. The hostesses do remember these things because I think I might have asked for a nice table. And they said, yes, we'll get you set up. Boom. We were at a really nice table. We were at a round small table. Wasn't like a two top where it's very, congested and hard to, eat. It was actually a very nice little sort of side round table that was great for a date. And then we got a free entree and we got a free dessert. So, because I remember we said no dessert. Or we're like, oh, we're good. We don't need a dessert. It's fine. But they brought it anyways, and that shit was free. So I was very excited about it. So they'll say all these are compliments of the chef. Really appreciate it. Blah, 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 blah. So that's one way of getting free stuff when, you give them a 20. That's nice. I did also do that when I went to Mayfair Supper Club. This happens a lot, when places have views of things. So I gave $20 to the hostess, and I said, this was before I kind of knew the ins and outs of Mayfair because they have weird rooms, and I've been sat in the weird room, which is right before the main dining room, which actually has the performance. Whenever you make a reservation for Mayfair Supper Club, you always get seated in the main dining room. But I did give the hostess, I said, just make sure, if you can just put us, in the main dining room. And I slipped her a 20. She said, thanks. And then we got seats right by the stage, which is when you're at two pair, that's the place to go. I would actually say this as well. This has nothing to do with $20. I would say that if you are a couple and you're trying to see a old school Vegas style dinner and show, we have places like Mayfair Supper Club. We have Delilah's, a couple other options, but I'm going to use these two as an example. Delilah's is not good for couples because they do not have a lot of two-top tables. They have them, but they're in very weird parts of the restaurant. They're usually around the edges or even at the bar, which kind of sucks. And it's not a very good, very fun experience. Or you have to be seated outside, which really sucks. But if you go to Mayfair Supper Club, they actually do have quite a bit of two-tops that are right in front of the stage, which that's a really nice little touch that if you are a couple, they have really nice seats around the stage that really sort of set the tone. So I think that's nice. If you are a couple, Mayfair Supper Club might be your option. Also much easier to make a reservation there for people who are couples. So not bad. So moving on to my $20 thing, what you can get with $20. Another one is, where can I get with $20? Where am I? Yes. So if you are actually going into a restaurant and let's just say that the bar tops say reserved, and this could be places like Aria does this a lot, and let's just say Delilah's happens a lot. What I've done, and if you listen to this episode, if you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard this story, is what I do is when I go to Delilah's and it's a really busy night, I will track down the bartender in the lounge and I will ask for a cocktail. I'll say, let me get get an old fashioned. And then they say, okay, cool. And then I'll give them my card with the 20 underneath and then hand it to them and just say, let me know when the spot opens up. Boom. They give me the drink. They say, gotcha. And then once somebody gets up, they'll put a little reserve sign up there, and then boom, slide into the seat. We're good to go. So I do that quite a bit, depending on, how busy it is, which I haven't had to do that in a long time because they haven't had the chairs out. And last time I was actually there was a seat that opened up, and there was a guy looking at it, and I slid right in there. No mercy. But if you actually go down at Delilah's, they do have a bar top that has a lot of reserve signs on it. If you give them $20, he can have a cocktail and, this and that. And are any of these seats available? They'll say, oh, no, these are reserved, yada, yada, yada. Slip the bartender a 20, and they'll say, let me see who's coming in tonight, or let me see what the reservations are. They'll probably check, yada, yada, yada it, and then, boom, they'll say, oh, you can sit here. You can sit in this spot right here. This is actually much easier to do when you are a smaller group, like a single traveler, or a couple. This works. If you're a larger group, much harder to do. Like if you're a group of 4 people, really hard to seat you at the bar. Sorry, guys. You can do this, though, if you go to the hostess stand. And this is also for other restaurants, like places like, oh, my goodness, not Joe Robuchon. It's the other one. Oh, man, I forgot the guy's name. Jean-Georges Steakhouse at the Aria. They do reserve their bar tops because it's a higher end. And this is a spot where you can do this. You could try it at Carbone. Carbone's kind of tough. The hostesses are a little bit mean. But sometimes you just got to do this. You got to blow past them. Just got to blow past the hostess. If you're not able to do that, be really nice to security guards. Only one time. That's a lie. A couple times I've been denied going into a restaurant, and one was Carbone. I was like, I'm going to sit at the bar. They say, well, the bar's reserved. And I was like, not in my, asshole phase yet. And then the other time was, where was I going? Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So I was going to Toca Madera, which was on like a Saturday with my brother and all of his friends, which, just way too many people. And I don't think I was dressed up good enough that day. And I walked to the security guard, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, we're not letting any more people in. If I really wanted to, I'd have been like, hey, bro, is there any... I don't say bro very often. I would just say, hey, man, is there any way that, I could just get a seat at the bar or just, go to the bar area? Boom. $20 handshake. By the way, $20 handshake goes like this. Boom. Just like that. Just boom, bang. You got to put it like right here. And you just do the handshake thing. I can't do it because I only have, I have 2 hands. So you go in and you just slide it real nice. And we're good to go. We all know what happened We all felt it. It's all good. Just go with it. Everybody likes $20. This is the thing. Like, you can never be too big for $20. Don't try to do the $20 trick with like the general manager of the restaurant. They will not like that. General managers and managers are really touchy about the whole like tipping thing because like they're on salary, so like they don't care. But hostesses, bartenders, servers, great people. What was one that happened one time? Oh yeah, so this gentleman, we were in Delilah's, and the guy was trying to get a seat in the restaurant, and he was like, "What if I gave the hostess like $200?" It does put them in a really tough position because like they get offers like that a lot. Like a lot of people want seats, and it's really hard to bump like a VIP out of the seat. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call, but I did see her say no thanks. Also, kind of crazy. By the way, this is a $20 thing. If you guys want to follow me on any of the Instagrams, it's Brian_Ortega26 or Concierge Confidential _LV. If you want to follow any of the content that we got going on up there, check it out. But kind of wrapping up the $20 situation here, I would just say $5, $10, and $20 bills are definitely underutilized in Las Vegas, especially 5 and 10s. 10s are great. But I would say always have cash. When you come to Las Vegas, always have cash on you. You never know when you're going to need it. We are very much a cash business still, and I think that those are some of the better ways to use $20 to get where you're going. That, in my experience, are the best ways to use $20. Oh, this is old school. This is old school Vegas stuff. Back in the day when we had, and then you can still use it. If you tip an usher, you've probably seen this scene in Vegas Vacation, but he says, make the seats good, and he gives him like a bunch of change. He says, no gratuity is necessary, sir. Fantastic. You guys got to watch it, Vegas Vacation. But it's happened before, like where I was like, hey, like, if there's anything closer to the stage, we'd really appreciate it. And I think I gave him like a 10 or a 20. And they said, sure, yeah, come with me. And then they'll take you to like that section of a nicer section of the theater. This happened at Star-Crossed Lovers, which is no longer here anymore, at the Venetian. Great show. Produced by Baz Luhrmann. Wonderful show. Loved it. And the thing is, the reason that she was able to seat me there is that they actually have usually a row or two in every single show in Las Vegas that are for casino invited guests. So these are part of the marketing team. They're held back just in case they have a high roller who wins a jackpot, or a high roller who ends up wanting to go see a show, or his family wants to go see a show and they want to keep him gambling and have the family go to the show. They will actually keep 2 rows on reserve, or however many rows it is, on reserve for casino marketing. So they usually will keep these rows available up until about an hour before showtime, sometimes 2 hours before showtime. So it's like 2 to an hour showtime. If you get there 30 minutes before showtime, you might be able to get some nice seats, because those seats are typically prime seats, and they're usually like a step below what it would be to pay for those seats. So just so you know, if you go an hour or 30 minutes before showtime for any big show, a lot of Cirque du Soleil shows, you might be able to find some seats that may have not been there before. And again, that's the little insider tip, is that those are casino marketing seats, which is why she was able to move me up, because I knew nobody was sitting in those seats. And yeah, $20 goes a long way. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to that part of the podcast. Did I have anything else I wanted to say? I don't think I did. I think I covered it all. If I forgot, I lost my train of thought on the thing that I wanted to tell you guys about, which was really funny. This is it. Kind of funny just for me. But a lot of people who work at Delilah's are going over to work at the Bond Bar, which is a new members-only club, lounge, bar, hangout, enclave, if you will, at the Wynn. So kind of weird that a lot of the people who are like upper tier, which I'm really mad about because those are the people that I knew, are moving over to be guest representatives or managers or hosts at that particular place, which is cool for me, because if I want to go check or peek inside, maybe they'll throw something my way. That'd be nice. Shout out Alexis, that's her name. Good for her. She's a manager now over at Bond, so that'll be sick. Which I think is supposed to open in December or January this year or next year. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening to Concierge Confidential. For those of you watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and leave us a comment. Love comments. I read all the comments whenever I can. And I do, for the new audience, I usually will make a episode if you have any questions or are coming to Las Vegas and you would like me to make a itinerary for you. You might be featured on the next Concierge Confidential. Don't worry, we do leave your names out. I'll just sort of explain sort of the situation. If it is super secretive, like, I don't know, an engagement or a bachelor party where you're asking for strip club recommendations, maybe we will leave your name out of it altogether. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe and check out all of our socials. Again, I'm Brian Ortega, and this is Concierge Confidential. If you see me out in town, come up, say hello. Remember, keep it confidential.